Peace to the family. Peace to the family. Peace to everybody. Greetings. Good afternoon. You know, all that fly shit. Happy Tuesday. You get the point. Meek, what up? What's poppin'? How's everybody doing? Don't all speak at once, you dig? We just tapping in. You know, I'm gonna be updating y'all about the God Body Challenge. I'm not sure if y'all are familiar with the God Body Challenge, but I figured that this is, you know, perfect timing, right? Because the winter is coming to an end. The winter is coming to an end. The winter is wrapping up. You feel me? For a few people that I know, and me included, this has been a brutal winter, right? A brutal winter. The fall was okay, but the winter been brutal. You know what I mean? The winter been brutal. The winter is taking no prisoners. Some of us are in hibernation mode. Some of us are getting our energy together. But what I feel would definitely help the collective and the individual is if we were to get into the God Body Challenge. I'm not going to talk too much about it. I'm going to have my good brother Alkebulan pull up, and then I'm going to ask him some questions so we could become more familiar with this process. You feel me? But what it involves is definitely fasting. I just came from outside. I got a nice backyard and whatnot. Let me show you. Got a nice little backyard and team. The grass hasn't really grown too high. You feel me? The grass ain't really grow too high, so I ain't really been able to plant flowers and shit. But, you know, I'm able to get outside and ground my feet in the soil and whatnot. Mine ain't get as manicured, so I'm not putting my feet on camera. But grounding does wonders for me. I even heard from somebody that said for the men, right? For the men, especially because of the currents, the magnetic currents and everything, they was like, you know, for virility, right? For virility, you want to walk on that ground. You want to ground, you know what I mean? You want to get your strength up by grounding and things of that nature. Somebody said, let's see the feet. Hell to the motherfucker. Y'all can't pay me to show my feet. You know what I mean? I'm in my 40s and whatnot. So, you know, I'm a New Yorker. I walked damn near for 40 some odd years. Talk about 40 days or 40 nights. I'm a New Yorker, my nigga. We walk. You know what I'm saying? I be coming down south. All you niggas do is drive around all day. Y'all be on y'all driving Miss Daisy. New Yorkers, we was wearing big Timberlands. Niggas was wearing every iteration of Timberland since the 90s. Yeah, we not doing that. I think I might have to go to Brazil and get a foot lift. You feel me? I might have to get a BFL, a Brazilian foot lift, because, you know, shit got to change. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, we walked everywhere. We walked everywhere. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a foot model. You know what I mean? I could be a hand model, but I ain't a foot model. You know, you gotta take some L's with your W's. You know what I'm talking about? You gotta know when to bow out of the race. You know what I'm saying? So when I go to the pool, I wear flippers. I don't even wear my feet. I wear flippers. Niggas is like, is this nigga scuba diving in 4 feet? I'll be like, I'm wearing flippers. You know what I'm talking about? Or I wear, you know how they came out with the shoes that look like feet? I wear those. I wear those. You know what I'm saying? If a woman suck my feet, I'm proposing to her right there. You know what I mean? That's wifey. You know what I'm talking about? Will you marry me? Because you really love the kid. That part. But grounding is therapeutic. You feel me? I ain't gonna act like I'll be out there for hours and shit. It's really based off of it's really based off of the temperature. I'm in Atlanta and I'm waiting for the temperature to warm up. But as soon as it gets super warm, I'm going barefoot like I'm Jamaican, my nigga. You know what I mean? I'm throwing away my FBA card. I'm walking around like I'm Jamaican. I'm climbing trees. I'm on my barefoot shit. I'm running in the motherfucking. I just don't want to run in some dog poop, but I'm running all up and down because I live near some trails, some ancient trails. And I intend on going barefoot on the trails because, Spirit is telling me that I'm going to get a lot of downloads walking the ancient trail barefoot, like a walking meditation, breathing properly, letting the sun kiss me and just going with the flow. I'm not even preparing or planning it. I'm just going to go with the flow and let it take me where it goes. You feel me? But yeah, that's what I'm finna do. You know what I'm saying? But there's so many different aspects of what it is that we could be doing, should be doing, and would be doing if we're about, building up our God bodies. This goes for the men and the women. I am not gender biased. When I speak to y'all, I'm speaking to everyone holistically. This is the homeostasis conversation. No one is excluded. But what I do know is that we are all on a path of enlightenment. We are all on a path of improvement. Many of us are all on the path of, bettering ourselves. Many of us are all on the path of, finding challenge in ourselves and finding other ways to tap into our God body or our Godhood. And fortunately enough, we are surrounded by geniuses, the Kanye type. We have geniuses amongst us. Not only master teachers, we have master students, right? Peace to the God. Peace to the God.
What's going on, bro?
Man. I was just letting the fam, I was sharing, some of my grounding experiences. I was in my backyard and whatnot. I was going to do a reel because I saw that you had a reel up there where a brother was barefoot and he was grounded.
You gonna show the feet? You was gonna show the feet?
I was about to go there. I was about to put the feet, but I was like, you know what? I can't take this back. You know what I'm saying? Once I put it, it's there forever. And I'm like, I don't feel that sexy right now putting the feet on the internet. So I was like, I'm gonna just talk about it.
No.
I'm gonna talk, I just might show my shadow one day walking on the ground.
In fact, yeah.
But I was sharing the excitement that I have, moving forward as we spring forward into the spring. And I was kind of explaining to the fam that's out there, the audience, that this winter was very brutal on me. You feel me? This wasn't an easy winter, especially with me relocating to Atlanta. It took a lot. It took a lot. You feel me? Amongst other things that were taking place. So, when it comes to the refinement aspect, when it comes to, I just can't say it's spring again. I can't just see and be like, I'm going to instantly just snap into Godhood mode. You know what I mean? I know to receive, you have to sacrifice. To get something, you have to give something. So mentally, I'm preparing myself to give up on the solid foods. I'm preparing myself to wake up with the sun. I'm preparing myself to, just walk in spirit and whatnot. You feel me? So I was prepping the audience for your arrival to let them know that, you're one of the brothers who picked up the mantle and you're putting it on your shoulders to create this God body challenge. So before we get into the specifics and whatnot, can you just inform the audience what the God body challenge is?
Yeah, so those who've been following me are familiar with the God Body Challenge. Those who are new, basically the God Body Challenge is a 3 to 5 day fast, no solid food, just water, right? So 3 to 5 days, and you know, what makes it special is that I focus more on the body. And, you know, we'll go deeper into the lecture about it, but, you know, more specifically, the electric body. So, you know, I like to acquiesce the fast around certain celestial events, you know, because I understand, you know, when you do fast, you know, you're raising the voltage in the body,
Right.
giving you a higher capacity to be able to process not only cosmic information, but maximize the energy output. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, we got to begin to look at, you know, life that way, you know, the universe, you know, how do you plug into the galactic circuit? You know, you got to acquiesce the body in a certain way, follow a certain discipline, and a fast does just that. But again, you know, this week, I made a post earlier talking about solar flares are taking off, you know, this week. So with
Right.
said, and leading into the spring equinox, you know, a fast is going to be monumental, you know, for those who partake and really do the discipline, and they're just really working through it. So yeah, the God Body Challenge, 3 to 5 days, no solid food, just water, family.
Okay, and outside of the fasting aspect of, you know, the challenge, is there other tenets that also go with the challenge?
See, what I encourage the family to do, because you know we all need to take a dopamine a dopamine challenge, a dopamine fast. You know,
Right.
what I recommend, you know, for the family, you know, while you're on the fast is you know, less TV, right? Less blue light, you know, whether it's the TV or the phone. More staying outside in nature, right? Plugging your feet in the grass, sun gazing, breath work, meditating. These are all tenets, you know, that, you know, are pivotal when you're going through a fast. And you know, as you're fasting, your brain is developing a larger neural network. So reading is pivotal because you'll be able to retain the information a lot more. And those are the big factors in it. You know, like I said, I encourage the family while they're fasting, even detox from some of the music we listen to, right? Because we all know the frequencies have a specific resonance that sets up in the body in reference to the tone that's coming from the music. So, you know, change the script a little bit, flip the script, maybe turn on some jazz, turn on some, you know, some, you know, Earth, Wind and Fire, turn on some Gap Band, you know what I mean? Turn on some higher frequency music that's going to be natural, and that's going to allow you to adjust a lot better, you know, during the fast. Um,
Right.
you know,
Question from the audience. They want to know about intercourse, sex.
refrain if you can, right? But you know, if you're with a significant other, you know, you guys obviously got to both be on the same page and agree with that. I
Right.
would definitely refrain from it. You know, semen retention. You know, you want to hold back the power. You know, the semen itself is a, you know, cerebral spinal fluid. That's plasma. That's brain matter,
Right.
right? So that's just another opportunity to maximize the fast is a withholding. You know, so if you can do that, that's definitely crucial. You know, to really tap into that God body and you know, move along with this sun marching into the spring equinox. So yeah, you know, try to withhold if you can, for sure.
Okay, definitely. So a dopamine detox,
Dope.
right?
Yeah,
Dopamine detox, refraining from stimuli.
stimuli, right?
Right.
Stimuli. You know, we tend to get, you know, that dopamine fix when we get those likes, you know, on IG and them comments. And actually, as a matter of fact, there's an article on Silicon Valley. They do monthly dopamine detox, and they refrain from certain stimuli, right? And
Right.
so already going through a fast, you're not being stimulated by the sugars and the sweets, etc. So if you can also couple the fact that you're not being stimulated by way of outside influence, whether again it's social media and things of that nature, again, it's going to maximize the fast. So I would include again staying off the phones as much as possible, you know, as much as you can.
Right.
If you got that choice and you sitting there with a phone and a book, definitely pick up the book and start reading that. Again, be conscious about the music you're listening to, because again, this is a very different type of fast. We're not just fasting, we're aligning it with certain events that's taking place within the cosmos. So it's a very sensitive fast. So again, to really get the maximum experience in it, you got to refrain from certain things. And You know, that's how you're going to get the best benefits out of it.
What is a good way for anybody going into this fast, marching forward into the spring, to detach and to let go and to forgive themselves for many, maybe there's been transgressions over the winter. Maybe they haven't been necessarily loving themselves the right way. Maybe there's some things that they aren't necessarily happy about. Like, what are some of the things, what are some of the exercises that one can do to kind of let go of these things?
Yeah, well, you know, already while you're on a fast and you're not distracting yourself from food intake, naturally you begin to reflect back on yourself. You begin to question certain things because 80% of the energy that would be used to digest the food is now going to the brain. But again, not only that, you're having a level of self-reflection. So on day 2 and day 3 and day 4, you notice that your thoughts will be more introvert, meditating again, conscious breathing every day, all day, throughout the day. As you're going out through your day and fasting, you want to consciously breathe. You want to be intact with the thoughts that you're having during the fast. Um,
Right.
and spending time in nature is going to allow you to really tap in. And, those who are suffering from, any level of self-esteem or confidence issues, a fast, is going to recalibrate not only the body, but it's going to recalibrate the mind. Because again, stimuli, constantly being stimulated,
Right.
uh, small workouts here and there, during the fast. And with that, because people ask me that a lot, should they work out during the fast? Um,
Right.
Light work, real light work. Again, like something like yoga. Even if you were to do dumbbells, real light, dumbbells.
Right.
Enough to where, you get that burn, but you don't want to lift heavy. You don't want to go, extra with it. You just want to make sure that you generate that electricity through the body and, making sure that you're, again, aiding the body and recalibrating itself. So, I think that's one thing that we, because we talk about mental health a lot. And, a big part of mental health comes by way of engaging yourself on social media because we're constantly comparing ourselves to other people, which forms like a mental complex in our mind and fractures it. It fractures the magnetic field of the mind to where we create these complexes in our own mind where we're comparing ourselves to other people and questioning our own nature. But, if we can, again, refrain from being on social media during the fast, is going to allow the mind and the body and your spirit to literally just recalibrate itself. And when you go outside in nature and couple that with it, it's going to maximize it. So
Question from the audience. They want to know, what if you take blood pressure medication? What about those who are on medication? What would the advice be to them?
so for that, disclaimer, of course, I'm not a certified doctor, but through experience and
Right.
testimony, if you're doing a fast, I would include, and if you're taking medication, I would include coconut water. So instead of just regular water, just do coconut water. That's for the electrolytes, even add a little bit of Himalaya salt in the water to get the minerals. But if you're taking, medication, definitely include like coconut water. Just don't go straight water. And those are for those specifically who are, like I said, taking certain medications. Um, yes, but that would be my advice with that.
Madam Lex in the audience said that yoga was very good for her. Are
Mhm.
there some specific poses that you would recommend for those that want to tap into the yoga experience? What up,
Certain,
Rich?
yeah, certain poses. That's important too, because if you notice on the glyphs, they're posed in a certain way. They understand the science of phase conjugation that ties into sacred geometry. So they were positioning themselves in a certain way to align with the magnetic field of the earth. So
Mm,
that's what yoga really is about, because you got to fashion the body in such a way to allow the local celestial geometry to adhere to the matter within the body.
mm,
So certain poses is going to allow that to happen through, again, a science called phase conjugation, because what you're doing through sacred geometry and sacred positions is you're allowing light to conjugally embed within the body and acquiesce to you at a faster rate. And that's something that we'll speak about too in the lecture as well. We just went through what, Pi Day, that was yesterday. And
yeah, that's
I, yeah, pi deals with the speed of light, in reference to it being a constant. But you know, the speed of light, or light doesn't have a speed, and there's a reason why they tell you that light has a speed, and it's all in reference to biology and even specifically yoga as well. So when you do certain positions, yes, that's important. And I would even reference back to comedic yoga. You can even type in comedic yoga on Google, and it'll tell you certain positions to do, and you'll notice that those positions are the same positions that they were doing in ancient Egypt. So
Shout
yeah.
out to Walter Ashby. I remember I have a shout out to Dr. Africa, um, and Raul Nefa. They have some great books that deal with that.
Mhm.
Um, for the couples that are out there who are still very intimate with their significant others, what about tantra? Is that recommended during the fast? Like some tantra?
Super. Yeah. Yeah. Tantra. You know, because again, with Tantra, you know, you're bringing together the electricity and the magnetism and producing light, right? So, you know, that's the goal with that. You know, if you want to engage with your partner during the fast, be strategic about it. You
Right.
know, intentional with it. You know, don't go into it haphazardly and, you know, want to spill the semen really quick and just get off. Like you want to be very specific with it. So again, like you have certain events that are taking place within the cosmos, more specifically, you know, marching into the spring equinox, but we also got solar flares taking off. So when you're engaging with your partner very strategically during the fast, not only is the body raising its voltage because you're not putting anything in it, but that electromagnetism that is coming together is going to produce something very monumental. But again, you got to go in it with intention. So yeah, during the fast, tantra is important. Tantra is
So in my experiences, I found that prayer and meditation to develop to set these intentions, are very effective along with breath work.
Mhm.
Um, staring into each other's eyes and
Right.
telepathy, being able to send signals and messages once we lock in.
Hmm.
The breathing aspect, even back to back breathing, that worked for me as well to
Hmm.
become one in the breath.
Hmm. Hmm.
And, you know, yeah, so
Because you set up that brain heart coherence, and
right.
that, you know, when you guys can engage, and again, especially during a fast, when you guys can engage in tantra, you guys set up a brain and heart coherence. So literally telepathy is possible during a fast when you're doing tantra. You know, engaging with each other on just a whole nother level, you know. So I would definitely encourage that. But again, be strategic about it. You know,
Yeah.
like I said, you want to focus on the breath while you're doing tantra, staring each other's eyes, you know. It's again coming together and actually coming out of it, creating something based on putting an intention in the experience, you know. So yeah, tantra is super, super important, super important.
Another question from the audience was about women on their cycles as well as women who are with child. What is the recommendations?
uh Now if they're talking about a child as far as breastfeeding,
They're talking about pregnancy. They may be pregnant with a child.
I would. So how I usually answer that question is those who are pregnant, I wouldn't recommend it. You know, to be quite honest with you, you know, because you know, obviously the baby is going through a stage of development. It needs
Right.
all etc. Now, if you want to alleviate some of the food that you're putting in, that's key, you know, and of course, you know, partake in some of the extracurricular activities, like, you know, again, sun gazing, going outside, putting your feet in the grass, you know, taking something out of your diet. Maybe it's something that you've had a habit of eating and you want to try to break from that. You know, your God body challenge will be then to remove either meat or sugars or something like that for 3 to 5 days. You know what I mean?
Right.
If you got, you know, certain minerals, if you're taking sea moss, make sure you incorporate that into it. But don't go completely cold turkey and jump on a fast and not eat at all, especially if you're pregnant. And you know, like I said, your guys' God body challenge will just be to either remove something out of your diet, or add something to it that's a lot more beneficial. And of course, you know, stay outside and make sure you get plenty of sunlight and things of that nature.
Beautiful. Let's switch up and talk about this powerful sun. You feel me? I
Hmm.
want to I want to talk to you about the power of this sun that's going to be, touching the earth come around the spring equinox. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, again in Egypt or Kemet, this is the Asarian prophecy. This is the Asarian mythology, right? So it's resurrecting from the dead per se. So to naturally tether yourself to that cosmic script, the fast is super important. We're talking about, the days and the nights being equal. So even during, Stonehenge out in Europe, during the spring equinox, they will have certain rituals
Yeah,
because still how the sun aligned with the stones. The stones were made of a specific mineral that were electrically conductive. And again, referring back to the body is electrically conductive. So when you're fasting, you're ionizing the plasma. You're allowing the plasma and the charge to step up. The cells themselves are capacitors. We got what do you call them? Phospholipids that make up the cellular membrane that are capacitors just in and of themselves. So, looking outside of yourself again, Stonehenge, they understood the body had the same composition to it.
right.
So they would follow the spring equinox. They would set up certain rituals around Stonehenge because they understood the magnetic flux around Stonehenge during the spring equinox based on the position of the sun. So coupling that again with the body being an electrically conductor or electrical conducting, mechanism, you want to follow the trajectory of the sun. And again, you're breaking the body down, just like the Osirian mythology, to build it back up again.
Back
So
up. All right.
you're following the cosmic script, and that's how you naturally tether yourself, to the sun. And again, doing these small things through the law of correspondence is going to maximize the experience. So,
You mentioned breaking the body down in order to build it back up, right?
mm,
And, you know, what I know from personal experiences and what I also know from just building with people is that sometimes when they are not taking care of their bodies, or sometimes when they're not necessarily in alignment with, their health and whatnot, they tend to be very hard on themselves. They tend to, uh, judge themselves and things of that nature.
mm,
But it was told to me by Supernova Slum when we were working out many years ago, and repeated by you, is that sometimes that you have to break the temple down in order to build it back up stronger.
right.
So I would say to anybody that's dealing with those type of thoughts and whatnot, to kind of like forgive yourself and to focus on the repair, to focus on the reparation, to focus on moving forward, knowing that even if you break your body down, your body is intelligent and it is a machine. When you go to the gym and you're tearing muscles and you're
Mm,
lifting and whatnot, and you want to acquire, that gym body and whatnot, you're literally breaking down your former body. You're literally, performing a form of construction on your.
right.
So it's like, can you speak to the aspect of people who may have been lazy during the winter, not eating right during the winter, not working out, breaking their bodies down and whatnot, and how we could move forward and turn that into a victory?
Yeah, naturally we're alchemists. So we're here to, quote unquote, turn lead into gold. So it's the same principle. You're performing alchemy. You're breaking the body down to rebuild it back up. Like Red said, the body itself, the body is piezoelectric. So when
Right.
you apply compression and that pressure to it while breaking it down in the gym, you're simultaneously building it back up and developing a charge within the body. So you know that's key for those who haven't been eating a certain way and breaking the body down, has been kind of lazy during the winter. It's not too late to flip the script. Nature naturally does it as well. It goes through a state of decomposition in order to build itself back up. The seasons, you see the leaves fall off the trees and then they grow back, during the spring, during the summertime. So again, we're just naturally tethering ourselves to nature. And this is a key marker on the 18th with the God Body Challenge to really start that process of really following the script, so it's not too late, for the family who's been really down on themselves and, been kind of lazy, because I know how it gets, when it's cold outside, because I live in the Midwest, I'm in Indiana. So yeah, no, we experiencing some, yeah.
I went out there and got upset with myself. I just was
No,
mad. Like,
yeah, no, it's that type of cold that make you mad. Like, what I mean?
hell,
Yeah, it's that type of thing. So I get it. You know what I'm saying? And when it's cold, you tend to want to eat a lot more, but again, the God Body Challenge is giving you an opportunity to really go through your rites of passage, go through that process of breaking the body down. And, when you get out on the other side, just again, it's going to be a whole nother level of self-fulfillment. That level of confidence is going to come back. That level of discipline, you know what I'm saying? And it doesn't just happen with the fast itself. When you come out of the fast, you're going to want to start refraining from all type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to want to start eating a lot better. You're going to want to stay away from toxic people. You know what I'm saying? You're going to want to break away from, certain things that you're watching on TV. And you want to continue that trajectory because, again, when you tie it in with the sun, that's what we're doing. We're naturally tethering ourselves to the cosmic script by following the trajectory of the sun. We're going into spring equinox. So you want to march into the spring equinox, same thing as the sun is doing. So that's what we're doing.
Question from the audience. You brought up confidence. I was asked to ask you about Godfidence, right? Can you speak on confidence and how important confidence and Godfidence is moving through this matrix? And I'm going to add on to that as well.
Yeah, no, like I spoke on, a lot of our, mental illnesses come by way of social media. Because again, like I said, when we're constantly comparing ourselves to other people, it creates a complex in the mind to where you develop this level of, this idea that you got to be like somebody else. You develop
Right.
narratives within your own.
Comparison is the thief of joy.
Right, exactly. So confidence again is key. And we're in the age of Aquarius, which is the age of knowing. So you got to take that term literal. Like, we're in the age of knowing. Again, when you wake up in the rising, know that you're gonna have a great day. You know what I'm saying? Know that when you, I don't know, when you go to the gym and you are visualizing a good workout, know that you're gonna get it in and get the best results out of it. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Know that you're going to start to change your diet next week when you promise yourself that you will, because that's all, in all honesty, that's where confidence comes from. It's when you make a promise to yourself and you follow through with it. So something very small, start doing that. Tell yourself tomorrow, every time you wake up in the rising, I'm going to do 20 push-ups, and do it and continue to keep doing it. You'll notice your level of confidence will rise. Again, even with me, and people who follow me know, I demonstrate a certain level of intellectual property, on social media through colors and numbers. But that again comes with a level of confidence because I'm tapped into a knowing. It's just about knowing that it's going to play out the way that you say it's going to play out. And the universe has to acquiesce to it because naturally you're following cosmic law, because in real time, you're qualifying yourself as a god. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So again, we're alchemists by nature, and by promising yourself that you're going to do something and actually following through with it is those small little increments that are literally going to build your confidence up overnight. So,
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I'm light skinned, so I didn't have that much confidence coming up.
no,
Um,
I feel you. Yeah.
no, I'm just saying, like, similar to what it is that you said, getting into this space of consciousness,
Mhm.
it was the continuum of hitting the ball out of the park,
Mhm.
like getting on Blog Talk Radio, building with master teachers, being accepted, and then trusting myself and being confident in my abilities to stand in front of thousands of people and to teach them. There's a huge level of confidence that entails public speaking. You know,
Facts.
I
Facts.
was a young man around 8 and 9 when I was a boy. I was very enamored by Dr. Sebi's ability to like exude a level of confidence that I was like, where the fuck does he get that from? You know? Because I was like, yo, he's barefoot. You know what I mean? He's up there with a joint in his hand. You
Mm-hmm.
know, he's talking big boy shit to these people in this fucking space that he's in. And I'm like, you know, where does that shit come from? You know what I mean?
Right, right.
So through all of those years, you know, because I didn't necessarily follow the Sabi blueprint throughout my life, you know,
Mhm.
I wasn't like a Sabi baby per se. I kind of rebelled and shit.
Right, right, right.
So when we got back into this space to you know be who we were meant to be, it took a level of confidence to be like, yo, I'm gonna say this, you know, because the first lecture I remember doing was Blueprint 322. And there was things that I was saying in that came true later on down the line. And it was like a lot of the times that I get out there, like with the evolution will be digitized. You know, I was talking about Bitcoin, block. You know, I was just
Mm-hmm.
I was projecting the things that are going to be in the future, and I was doing it with so much confidence because I was in the knowing. I knew that this reality was going to come about. Fear of a Black and More Messiah. After studying and after being immersed in the information, it built a level of confidence. Whereas I'm not, because remember, this is the day and time where everybody was being critiqued and challenged and debated on, and you could be called a pseudo and all of these stupid things that were taking place. But it had a double-edged sword impact. It was either put out there to break your confidence, or you could build your confidence up because you was looking so past that, like, yo, I don't even have to, I don't have to answer the near nigga. I'm tapped into the universe. This information is coming to me as downloads, and I'm gonna put it out there,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I'm confident that they ain't gonna come back and bite me in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm. That
I,
no, that no, that's a fact. You know, and I can attest to it. You know, that's important because when you start to foresee certain things before they even happen and proclaim it, you know, as a prophecy that's playing out, you know, that comes, like Red said, with the level of confidence. Me personally, even speaking, you know, teaching has always been something that I've always wanted to do per se. I
right,
mean, that shit has just came quick, you know, within less than a year. And, you know, I'm
right,
on weekend panels, etc. And I've always been more of a reserved person, you know, growing up, very observant, you know, just but more reserved, not too much in the public eye in that manner in regards to speaking publicly. But you know,
right,
as continuing to do it, even though it may be uncomfortable to a certain extent, that uncomfortability is what is allowing me to be a better teacher and to, you know, develop a level of confidence. Because as I said, the body itself, when it's under a level of stress, it develops a charge. So that uncomfortable place is where you want to be. A lot of people on here don't have the confidence to get up in front of people and speak. But you know, if that's something that is challenging for you, try it, because that's again how you develop your confidence. Again, I'm speaking from experience. So you know, that is something that is key. You want to remove yourself out of your comfort zone. And again, like Red said, I do it myself. I jump on IG and I freestyle. And what I mean is I go out and basically what makes sense to me, I put it out there. You know,
right,
referring back to colors, I said the color purple is going to play out. Lo and behold, less than 24 hours, it plays out. And again, I'm just willing it into existence because it comes with a level of confidence. So when you
right,
follow on confidence, the universe has to acquiesce to it because you're setting up a proper resonance for the universe to see something outside of its own existence that it can refer back to. Because again,
right.
we're here to be creators. You know what I'm saying? So confidence is key, and you just got to own it. We're in the age of knowing, so you got to tap in and really you buy into that concept, like for real, for real.
Definitely. And self question. Is self-esteem tied into self-confidence?
Uh, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I think it is. Self-esteem. You know, because we all have a little bit of self-esteem issues. You know, that's natural. You know, I feel like that's a law of polarity. Just being a human being. You know, I don't think all in our minds think we're perfect per se, because we always got a reference point outside of ourselves. As far as people, we're always judging ourselves compared to what other people are wearing, what they got, how much money they got. It's a natural concept, but you know, we were dismembered in order to remember who we are. So those little fragments or pieces that we're missing, that's the goal. That's the game, is to pick those pieces up. And you do that by way of discipline. You do that by way of, you know, like Red said, doing something that makes you uncomfortable. If teaching is something that makes you uncomfortable, try it. Get through it. Get through the stress and the shyness and all of that. And you'll notice when you come out on the other side, you develop a characteristic that you never had before. And
That
that's just a piece. Yeah, that's a very important piece of it. So yeah, that's key.
I've challenged myself this year to do something that's outside of my comfort zone,
Mm-hmm.
right? Even with me, I was like, I publicly declared, I'm like, yo, I'm going back into the arts. I'm gonna become a painter. You know, I'm not gonna be speaking that much. I'm gonna immerse myself in my artistic talents,
Mm-hmm.
because if you don't use it, you will lose it. And
Right.
I'm through old books of mine that I started that I did in the 90s and whatnot. And I'm like, fam, you are fucking retarded. Like, you need to, you
Yeah.
know, save a legacy in this art world. But then I was thinking, I'm like, that's a comfort zone. That's still a comfort zone. That's not something that I've never done.
Right.
So I'm still in my mind. Hopefully, it will come to me during this fast, where it's like, yo, you have to completely challenge yourself. You
Mm-hmm.
almost got to put yourself in a place where you're going to be shaking and whatnot. You feel
Right.
me?
Right.
Outside this comfort zone that you're in, even though you've been able to conquer a lot of things, in order for my growth and development to continue to evolve and whatnot, in order for me to get to this level that I notice attainable, I'm positioning myself to put myself in a place that is so uncomfortable and master it.
Right. Right.
Oh, master it. Just don't know exactly what that may be. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
And that also ties into self-love. You know, self-love, you know, in my opinion, over, you know, envelopes all of those: self-esteem, self-confidence, because what I've learned is, you know, love is self-induced, right? So what I mean is, those people that you care about that are on the outside of you, they're catalysts to serve as a stimulus to generate the feeling of love that you feel like you have for that person, but it's actually the feeling of love that you have for yourself. And once you begin to embrace that for you, naturally you'll radiate that out and attract people on that same frequency. Love is self-induced. So that chemistry that's being produced in the body, when you see your kids and you see, you know, your wife or your husband and, you know, people on the outside of you, they're put there as catalysts because you're there,
right.
it's there to stimulate that feeling that you feel like that you have for them, which is actually love that you have for yourself. And once you begin to embrace that for you, naturally you'll put those people outside of you on the frequency, because what will follow is certain characteristics in reference to self-discipline. So you'll notice when you begin to love yourself, naturally you'll shy away from certain toxic foods, toxic people. You'll begin to listen to better music. You know, you'll begin to speak into your kids a lot better. You know what I'm saying? Like, you'll begin to, you know, choose to feed your kids a lot better. You know, your perspective on reality will change when you begin to love yourself. And like we're speaking on, that ties into self-esteem and self-confidence. And a fast, for those who haven't partaken in one, does just that. And you'll notice once you experience the fast, a level of, again, self-reflection will come about. And you'll begin to question a whole lot because you're not distracting yourself from stimulus, constantly eating sugars and sweets and things of that nature. So again, family, it's not too late. Like, we're starting and kicking it off on the 18th, 3 to 5 days. I would encourage the family to do all 5. Me personally, I might do 7 or 8. I don't know. I'm feeling myself right now. But
Right.
yeah, that being said, you know, yeah, definitely partake in this God Body Challenge.
Shout out to Ty Phoenix in the building. I see you. Shout out to all of the fam in the audience. I just want to cover. I want to back. I want to go back a little bit, and I want to, you know, ask a question about self love
Mhm.
from the vantage point of a man. What exactly does that look like again?
Self-love for a man.
You know, through, because what does self-love look like for men?
Mm. I think self-love for men, in my opinion, basically is acknowledging the feminine principle of a,
Okay.
because we're taught to be extroverted and super masculine. But I think again, bringing back that feminine principle to a man is going to begin to develop that self-love for himself. Because when you're talking about the feminine principle for a man begins to retract back into himself. And it's not only just self-reflection. When I'm talking about inward, I'm talking about taking in information, taking in the proper foods, taking in the proper information. So it's an inward process when you're dealing with the feminine principle. Women naturally take in, men give, women take. You know what I mean? So it's a process of a man creating a level of balance within themselves. Same thing as a woman. You want both to have a feminine and masculine principle, because in essence, that's the basis of electromagnetism. And naturally, we're electromagnetic beings. So, love for a man, for himself, is just not being a provider. It's just not that. It's just not being a doer, because again, we're put in this world to be taught to do, like,
Right.
go out and do this. Like that's what a man is. Or you carry yourself around with this certain bravado. You have a level of bass in your voice. That's a man. When in essence, that's not what a man really represents. A man represents someone who, again, naturally is a nurturer too, or naturally who. Because it's funny as well. And what I've learned is, when men have girls, when they have daughters,
Yes.
testosterone levels drop, and that's the body's intelligence. For the man to then begin to acquiesce to a specific role within a family dynamic, because the body and nature wants the man to begin to embrace the women or the girls more natural, more caring, like more nurturing. So the men begin to produce more oxytocin and
Right.
that nature. So yeah, I think just again, a level of self-love for a man is not to always believe that you got to be the doer. You got to be the go-getter. It's about having, self-reflection on self and taking in the proper things in order to create that balance between the feminine and masculine.
I just want to share that I brought up my feet earlier. I'm just being a little transparent and whatnot. Because I dropped a whole television on my foot. You feel me? I was at Bella's mother's house in like 2014, and she had this huge floor model, and I ain't had no socks on. She was like, "Can you move that for me?" And I'm feeling myself. I'm like, I'm feeling all brolic and shit, and
Yeah.
I'm like, got it. But then it was a TV with the big back. I'm so used to flat
Oh,
screens.
yeah.
The big back is like it's a when you lift it up, the weight is uneven, so
Yeah,
it got wobbly. It dropped on my foot, and it took my toenail off. And then it had to grow back with like new cartilage. It's TMI, But
yeah.
anyway, I had went and got my feet done the other day. I was in the mall getting my jewelry clean and everything. And I walked past the foot spot. You know what I mean? I walked past the Asians and shit, the foot spa, and I was like, I'ma just beeline up in this place. I'ma just go get my foot done. You feel me? I'm gonna get my feet done. And you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna hope this Asian lady don't judge me and whatnot and pull out the buzz saw. And after I got it done and everything, and she charged me extra. Now I'm just playing.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
felt good. It was like, damn, yo, you out here taking care of your feet, like you a legend. You know what I'm talking about? Like this doesn't, men, we kind of wait for a woman to be like, I'm gonna pay for your foot to get done, and you be like, all right, whatever. Like
Yeah.
that's not something that we're taught naturally to do, just on a humbug.
Mm-hmm.
So that felt good to me.
That felt right.
I'm gonna ask this question, and I'm not trying to be, raunchy and whatnot for the audience that's out there. But is masturbation self love? That has to be asked.
Uh, is masturbation self-love? Yeah, I would say so. If it's being done in the proper way, and I won't go too much into the proper way of how to do it per se, but um,
Indeed.
you know, it is a form of self-love, to be quite honest. Uh, I will say though, those who do it, you know, out of vanity, in a sense of like lust, that's more of a lower nature way of doing it. You know, just wanting to release. You have that urge to just want to, you know, have sex all the time and get one off. Like that in and of itself is a level of you know, I would say self lust. You know,
Right.
but there is a way of self love when it comes to masturbating for sure. You know, it's interesting to me because I was even thinking about this a little while ago. The fact of masturbating, like the word itself, I don't
Right.
know the name, the etymology of it, but mastering something in reference to masturbating.
But
Um,
something.
yeah, facts. No,
Feel
facts.
me?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you
So,
master the baiting. So you're baiting your seed to spill in a sense. So you have to master
right.
that bait aspect and get over, you know, always spilling your seed because like Alkebulan said, that leads that's self-lust. It's not self-love in a sense. You feel me? It's not self-love. Because when you don't spill your seed, you actually feel a little bit better. Versus when you do it, you be like, I hate myself. You know, because that's one of those thousand deaths that we have in
Yeah,
our lives. You die a little bit. You know what I'm talking about? So I
yeah,
don't know how people actually could, you know, say that they walk around feeling good after indulging in things of that nature. You know, but that was a question that had to be asked. I'm asking that for the fellas out there that are kind of like shy and whatnot and don't want to deal with that because that shit has to be dealt with. We are hypersexualized in
yeah.
society. Social media is hypersexualized. Prior to social media, the TV is hypersexualized. I even was having a conversation last night on Melanin Monday on YouTube, and I was going in total recall, and I was recalling when we were of a younger. I was born in '75,
Mm,
so by the time 1985 came, I was exposed to all of the programming that was coming through the TV and was coming through the music and whatnot, and they were putting a lot of European women in front of us, right, as these sex symbols and whatnot. We were inundated by this image of European standards of beauty and whatnot through the music and through the TV and definitely through the movies. They gave us Bo Derek, Raquel Welch, Charlie's Angels. They gave us Baywatch. They gave us Cyndi Lauper. The grand the grand dragon of all of them is Madonna. That's why she got so many bodies. You know what I mean?
facts. Yeah,
All of these images. And then I was like, you know, for the people who got caught up and went the route of a Carlton and whatnot, you know, I'm not excusing it, but I understand the context of what the programming was. There
mm,
was a programming for our innocent minds. We didn't understand all of this stuff that they were putting in front of us. You know, but you know, luckily for me, I was like, yo, with all of that programming they was trying to put on us, the minute I saw Pam Grier,
uh,
I didn't even need a lot of black women on TV to see.
yeah, yeah,
Like three of them. And
yeah.
that shit broke the spell. I was like, that's not beauty. This is. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? I'm drawn to this right here.
Facts.
And later on, we had the women in hip hop, the MC Lights. I loved MC Light when I was little. I had a super crush on Moni Love. Moni, if you out there, let's play in the middle. That part. Now I'm just playing. Moni in the middle, MC Light.
Uh,
I even had the hots for Bahamadia because that shows you that, you know,
yeah,
I
yeah,
would have Bahamadia. Rod Digger, you know what I mean? Boss, right?
yeah.
These women were exuding skills. They were exuding a level of femininity where it was balanced. They could be amongst the roughnecks and whatnot, but they were still comfortable in their femininity. And that shit did something as a young hip hop fan for me to whereas I was like, yo, I'm not look. And then Apollonia and Vanity, my nigga, that took the cake right there. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said before, it wasn't a lot of baddies on the earth back then.
Mm. Mm.
They multiplied after 12. I don't know what had happened, but they started multiplying. But when I seen all of that, I was like, nah, I'm good. But I do know that a lot of people got caught up in the subliminal programming to whereas they still stuck with that ideal of European or westernized beauty standards, and they like, yeah, this is the top of the pyramid for me and whatnot.
Right, right, right. No, yeah, we were. I mean, shit, we arrived of our innocence at a young age. Just to drop a little bit of science. The body is based on the phi ratio, the golden ratio. Beauty is marked based on the golden ratio. So that's that spiral that you see in nature. The melanated body specifically is based on that phi ratio, more specifically the symmetry of the face. So our brains are naturally hardwired to be attracted to that symmetry based on just alone the phi ratio, because that's what we deem as beauty. You see? So, we arrived at a young age, and they know this as well. As we are growing up as kids, we tend to deify everything. And what I mean is, our imagination is wild. So, when for example, my son is picking up it can be like a water bottle, and in his mind, it's a whole spaceship, and again, the brain doesn't know any difference, but the mind or the visual is a spaceship. So nature naturally is going to synchronize you to a reality where you're introduced to some sort of spaceship or spacecraft. It can be any. I'm just using that as an example.
The geometry is the same.
The geometry is the same. The
Geometry
geometry.
is the same. So for a young impressionable mind, they're matching the geometry even if they've seen a spaceship 2 times.
That's a fact. That's a fact. That's a fact. So, when they're putting all these subliminal images and all these, cartoons, and even as we're growing up as melanated, kids, our only reference point to superheroes is Blue Eyes and,
Marvel,
European.
yeah,
So that's our reference point to what kings and queens and princesses are. And again, not only that, but we're overly being sexually stimulated by way of the subjective programming or the subliminal messages that are in these cartoons. So social media doesn't help either. You know what I'm saying? Because that's a whole beast in and of itself. But again, the whole idea is for us to relinquish or spill the semen just haphazardly. They understand that seed is very powerful.
right.
So in order for us to, get rid of it, and lose our sense of power, the sight of a woman eating a banana, the first thing that we go to is,
Right. I don't mean to cut your wisdom, but the time is running out. We could run it back if you want to. You know what I'm saying? This has been a beautiful build. But for the fam that's out there, we have tickets for our upcoming lecture on KTL University. It's pinned right there. I appreciate everybody for their input, their questions, and their attendance. This was wonderful. And we will be doing it more as we move towards this challenge. All right. So love and light to the family.
Peace to the family.
Uh,
Peace.
peace. Yes, sir.